The background construction noise of this video that you may hear is proudly brought to you by the city of Toronto. Living in the big city is stressful. Being away for 3 months in the Netherlands, I really forgot how stressful it can be. In this video, I'm going to share with you the things I do to de-stress and maybe inspire you to do the same. Hi, my name is Andrew. After recovering from my burnout, I'm pursuing a more peaceful and contented life, sharing my thoughts on this journey and financial freedom while navigating a nomadic life between the Netherlands and Canada. Welcome to my Simple Living Diaries. So I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but lucky for you, I do have a noise cancelling microphone, except I've never tested it to this extent. And I just hope you don't have to endure this ambience that I've been having to endure for the past week because it is driving me nuts. They're so on time. Every morning, 7 a.m., they just start drilling. They're trying to rebuild that entire highway that's right outside of my place, section by section, inch by inch, while traffic's going into it, across it, on it. So it's a very slow and painful process that's going to last for the next few years. Oh boy. So I've been back for a week now, and every time I come back to Toronto, I need some time to readjust, to get back into the rhythm, my routine. But this time is just especially hard because I feels like the city of Toronto just decided to start all the construction projects around this neighborhood. So it causes a lot of congestion as well as all these noise. So that's why I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to remind myself, keep calm, do the things and focus on myself, improve myself, blah, blah, blah. So that's why I wanted to make a video to share with you some goals I have and what I'd intend to do to keep my mental health in good shape, keep my stress level and anxiety levels in check, keeping my peace and calm despite the chaos around me. There's a lot of things in life that are just out of our control, like the construction work. And then my neighbor upstairs was doing renovations for the past few days. Thank goodness it's over now. And then there's the elevator that broke, and I came back to a broken air conditioning. There's a lot of stuff going on. So I think making this video is good. Not only hopefully it can inspire you to maybe do some of these stuff, but also it's a reminder for myself to like, hey, it's okay, keep calm. Focus on the things that you have control over and it'll be okay, because I needed that right now. So to give you a little bit of context as to why I travel back and forth between the Netherlands and Canada. So my partner lives there. So far, we've been traveling back and forth to visit each other. And because of my nomadic lifestyle, I am more free to visit him. However, because of my Canadian passport, I can only stay there for up to 90 days every 180 days, which means that whenever I visit there for 3 months, I would have to come back to Toronto for at least 90 days before I can go back again. And I know this isn't ideal, but it's what we have to work with in the meantime while I sort out some tax stuff. But that's a totally different video because it's quite complex matter about leaving Canada. It's not as easy as just packing your stuff and go. So yeah, I'll make a video in the future about that. But for now, we're stuck with having to do this routine every 3 months of coming back to Toronto and dealing with the stress of the city. And don't get me wrong, I think Toronto has a lot to offer, and Toronto as a city has a lot of unique things about it. And I'm very grateful, having lived here for 11 years, to experience that, like the job opportunities, the diverseness, the food culture, the things to do. But as with other major cities, it does come with a lot of stress and causes a lot of mental health problems. And especially because right now I'm just in a different phase in life where I'm seeking and appreciating different things. I'm more into the peaceful, calm, away from the storm vibe and not the hustle and bustle of Toronto. So going from this tiny, peaceful, tranquil village of the Netherlands where my partner lives back to this chaotic city of Toronto, it's like going from one extreme to another. So the first thing that I want to do is to get back to the gym in a more consistent manner. So I think physical exercise is definitely one of those things that brings along many different benefits, from your physical health to your mental health to how you feel overall, and also your physical appearance. And I'm going to be honest, when I first started working out, I think it was in 2016, I wanted to go to the gym because I wanted to look better. But then over time, as I start working out consistently, being very strict with my diet, meal prepping, I started notice that it helped me a lot with my stress management and my mental health as well. So over time, this just became a lifestyle of mine, and I did see pretty good results physically, mentally, emotionally, all around, until around the time of pandemic when all the gyms were shut down. It really impacted my mental health, and I think that's also one of the reasons why I burnt out, because I didn't have enough tools in my life to deal with the stress of working in tech. And then ever since the pandemic, I think I kind of hit a plateau and my progress has been sideways, and I just go to the gym when, like, here and there. It's not very consistent. So I do plan on restarting that. So I have been back to the gym already and I'm feeling quite sore, which is a good feeling because that's when you know your muscles are being broken down and being rebuilt. And when it comes to exercise, weightlifting, going to the gym isn't the only way. I think the most important thing about physical exercise is just doing something physically, like moving your body. Like you can go for a speed walk, a 15-minute jog, anything that requires you to move your body. I think that's where the bang for the buck is. So don't over researching on things. I know a lot of people tend to do research after research and research, like looking for the perfect routine or fantasizing, oh, I wish I had this piece of gear or clothing, and like focus on the best bang for the buck, which is doing the thing. And if you're interested in going to the gym, I know it's very intimidating because when I first started, I was so afraid of what people might think because I had no idea what I was doing. But in reality, people are more concerned about themselves, and most of the time they're just checking themselves in the mirror and taking selfies and doing their thing. So don't be afraid of that. And most importantly, whatever exercise you choose to do, just be patient with yourself, because it's one of those things that the results are not going to show immediately. It might take some time. So just keep showing up and eventually you're going to see the difference. You're going to feel the difference. And then at that point, it'll be much easier to turn it into a lifestyle, which would benefit you for the rest of your life. Now, the following few things that I'm going to be talking about are just various forms of distractions. What I notice is that when I'm constantly in this unpleasant, stressful environment or mindset, I tend to just keep on drilling down this negative thought, causing more stress and anxiety. So for me, I need some form of healthy distractions. Now, there are healthy and unhealthy distractions. Unhealthy things such as gambling or unhealthy habits. Some people like to have retail therapies. And to me, those are not very helpful for my future self, so I tend to stay away from those. So here are some of the healthier distractions that I think is good for my stress management. So one of them is to learn a new skill. I think the act of learning new skills gives me the confidence and the courage to tackle a lot more problems for myself in the future. And for me, I really like to be self-sufficient. As an example, I learned how to cut my hair right before the pandemic. And this skill has come in so helpful when the pandemic hit because all the barber shops were closed and a lot of people couldn't get haircuts. But for me, I just cut my own hair and in the comfort of my own home. And I get to save money. So it's a win-win situation for me. Especially now that I travel between Canada and Netherlands, I don't have to worry about finding a right barber that can cut my hair the way I like. I mean, it's certainly not perfect, but I think it's good enough. Like if I put some hair product in there, nobody will know. They're gonna know. Nobody would know. So for the next 3 months that I'll be here in Toronto, I really want to learn Dutch. Or let me clarify. I want to be better in Dutch. Because I think if I were to move to the Netherlands, it's definitely a necessary skill to have so that I can communicate with people. I can do a lot more things by myself without having to rely on Gijs, my partner, having to translate everything for me. And because I really like the Dutch culture, I feel like I have a duty if I were to move there to properly integrate to the society and the culture and to preserve that culture that I fell in love with in the first place. So this past week, I was actually on a binge of of coding. Every now and then I get this phase where I'm just like heads down writing a program or something because it is fun. Despite being burned out from tech as a software engineer, I actually love to code, just not the politics and BS that comes along with the job, which I'll talk about in a future video. But I want to show you this app that I wrote that would help me better learn Dutch. I've been watching various YouTube videos, reading some books, and watching television with my partner with ondertiteling, which is subtitles. And then whenever I see a word that I don't know, I would write it down. I separate them based on sections, the type of verbs or adjectives and stuff like that. As I have more and more words, the issue is that if a word comes up and I feel like I've seen it before, but I can't quickly recall if I already have it in my notes, then I would have to pause the TV and spend time looking for the word. And sometimes if I don't pause the TV, then I would miss the entire sentence and context altogether. So it wasn't ideal. So let me show you the app that I wrote, which I'm pretty excited for because there's a lot of things that I plan on adding to it as well. So here's the app that I wrote. It's essentially the same representation of what I have in my notes, except that it's searchable. So while watching TV now, I can quickly type in a word here and the definition would come up and information about it would come up as well. Another feature that I added is a quiz mode so that no matter where I am, I can easily take out this app and start quizzing myself to help me better memorize these vocabularies. Some of the future plans I have for this app is to add in phrases for the quiz mode, as well as the different forms of the verbs. So Dutch is similar to French where there's a different verb form for I, he, she, they. Another healthy distraction that I think is a good stress management tool is to have creative hobbies. So I think for me, there are two reasons why this has been helping me. The first reason is perspective. Working in the software field, we're trained to think in a very logical way. Everything is ones and zeros, black and white, true and false, logical statements, correctness, algorithms. And I get it, that's the foundation of software and computer science. But what I find is that by having this mindset, when applied to the outside world, I sometimes find myself being frustrated, annoyed when I see things that are just not logical, things that I don't comprehend, or when things are not as efficient as it can be. This causes anxiety, stress, and it's unnecessary. So what I find having this creative outlet is allows me to see things from a different perspective, not in the logical sense that I've been trained to think. Because in the real world, it is far from efficient and it's definitely not perfect. So I'm starting to learn through the process of creativity that life is just a spectrum of colors and that they are just what they are. Perhaps a lot of the problems don't have a solution. Not everything needs to be solved, and that is okay. The second reason is partially because of my perfectionism and high achiever mentality, but it's also because working in a corporate setting, there was no room to make mistakes or to do random things and get away with performance reviews. Everything we did has to be approved. Everything we did has to be at its top quality. And what I find having creative hobbies is that because it's creative, it helps me realizing that it's okay to do things for no reason. And also, being creative is one area where you don't have to be good because what is good? And that's what I like about being creative, is that it gives me the space to just do things for the sake of doing things because I enjoy doing it. So for the next 3 months, I'm going to use my content to keep practicing, to open my mind up, to see the world for what it is, and to see things from a different perspective. And let me tell you, untraining this tech corporate mindset has been a huge challenge for me, and it's definitely not something that I expect me to change within the next year or two. And the last stress management tool that has been helping me tremendously for more than 10 years is super simple: have an anticipation calendar. The reason why this has been so helpful for me is because if there's nothing positive to expect in the future or something to look forward to, then we're constantly feel like we're stuck doing the same things, going in circles. But if we see a calendar and start counting down the days towards something that happens, then it creates this mini milestones for us to work towards too. And these anticipation events doesn't even need to be anything big. What I've done is put different album releases releases from artists that I really like, or movie releases for the ones that I look forward to. Anything that might get you a little bit excited, just put it on this calendar. And every day looking at this calendar, you can be like, hey, 5 more days until something happens. Right now, my next anticipation event that I'm really looking forward to is when Guys comes over here to visit, and that's in 2 weeks. And we're planning a trip to go check out Nova Scotia in the east coast of Canada, which we're both pretty excited about. So those are some of the tools and goals that I have to keep my mental health in a good shape and to maintain my stress level as low as possible. And hopefully it's given you some ideas and inspiration on how you can add to your stress management tool set. No matter what you do, just try to remember to not let any of those overwhelm you and stress you out even more. As with everything in life, it's all about balance, carving out time for yourself, doing things you enjoy, and most importantly, always be kind to yourself and be patient with the progress. There's no need to rush. So I hope that's been helpful. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time.